as we are in this beautiful, beautiful bookstore here in Newark, New Jersey. So welcome Shante Rollins and Lateefah Fleming.
Well, welcome everyone. As Akila stated, I'm Shante Rollins. I am a wine rep with One Hope Wines based in Napa Valley. And just to let you guys know, it is a call-centric winery. So everything we sell gives back to charity. So when we host events like this, it is the host choice. And what we'll be giving back to tonight is the Haitian Alliance for Community Action. So any sales of the wine will go back to that. So we are going to get started. If you guys haven't read the book, that's fine, because we're going to talk about it. We're going to ask questions. We're going to get the author's perspective. And then we are going to have some audience engagement. So be ready to talk and chime in and all of that, okay? Sounds good. You want to say anything before we get started?
Just to say thank you all for coming out on a Friday night.
Yes.
Thank you. I
work
appreciate it.
and
After work and everything. Wine gets people out.
Cheers. And if anybody feel
Cheers.
free to, while we're up here, feel free to help yourself, or we'll have time to pour and also. So you ready to jump in?
Let's jump in. Let's do
All
it.
right. So first question. What inspired you to write Soul Shift at this particular point in your life?
Is at my young, ripe age of almost 55. Next month I'll be 55. And
Nope, 2 months.
it's
May's next month.
it's not May. Feels like it's May. It's but you're never too old or young to learn something and to learn about yourself from yourself. And I've constantly been having conversations with myself, like we all do, that inner voice, those conversations we have. I shouldn't do this, I should do this. Why am I in this situation again? And I had those conversations with myself a lot. Had a lot of those conversations when I was hospitalized, suffered from depression. And I say suffered because I no longer suffer from it. I live with it, but I don't suffer anymore. But being in a hospital where you have nothing really gets you to thinking. And the book, I've been doing it for a while. I just didn't know I was writing it. So, I write in a journal. I journal, which is why journaling is a big part of the book as well. But I journal, and some of the book, I'm not gonna lie, is like maybe a passage out of my journal or something, and it goes back to, this is something that I was dealing with or was struggling with, and this is how I'm gonna get through it. I'm also in therapy. God bless Black therapists. Oh, amen to that. But because she helped me have those conversations, I was able to write this book. And it also let me know, as I said again, your age doesn't matter. When you get it, you get it. And when you get it, it's a powerful moment. And this is me getting it. Doesn't mean I'm completely cured or great or everything is wonderful for me, but it does mean that I get it. And now I can work every day towards being better.
And so with that, right, you said like you had this soul shift, right? And you wrote this book from journaling and stuff. What do you expect readers to get from it? Like, what is your goal for the average reader that picks this up and wants to journal, whether it's the first time or whether they've been doing this for a while? What was your end goal for them?
One, for us to get over ourselves. Like, okay, come on, y'all. Let's get over ourselves, because that's what I have to do for myself. Girl, get over yourself. One. And the first thing with that is I don't have to be everywhere. I don't have to do everything. Everyone is always talking about FOMO. I'm learning to embrace JOMO. Joy of missing out.
Okay.
I'm learning to embrace that a little something. But I'm hoping people get that from the book, that, you know what, it's how I've been feeling deep inside is actually okay. We think sometimes how we feel, we gotta fight that, and sometimes we just don't. We have to learn to listen to ourselves more, and I hope that this book gets people to after they're writing. That's the other thing. Write it out. Write it out. Journaling does so much for you, and I'm hoping that this starts a really amazing daily habit of journaling. That's another thing, and being honest in your journaling, because people can write, today was a great day, and you know, excuse my French, you know it was shit, and you're like, but today was great. Why are you lying to your journal?
And there's no growth in that, right?
There's no growth.
If we just write what's good and never really write what's bad, we can't really go back and reflect on that and say like, wow, I was in this place and now I'm here.
Yeah, and going and seeing that growth is really important. I want people to see that too. That if they pick up the book and they're like, yeah, well, I'm not there. Yeah, but you picked up the book and you just wrote 2 journal entries. So you're getting there. And I think we need to really focus on how okay it is to get there, to be on a journey. You know, that's okay.
Definitely. And so you alluded to a little bit of the JOMO, right? Like the joy of missing out. So that sounds like choosing yourself, right? So what does actually choosing yourself really look like? Like, what does that look like in the daily life, really choosing yourself? Because I think a lot of people struggle with actually choosing themselves when they are mothers, wives, leaders of companies or what have you. It's hard to make that shift. So what does that actually look like?
Starting small. We always want guilty. Okay, so I'm saying this and I'm saying it out loud and I'm guilty of it too. We always want that big thing to happen because it has to be that if this big thing doesn't happen, I haven't done for myself. I haven't. But sometimes that 5 minutes, you know, we never have time for anything. We just don't have time. But I bet everybody has 10 minutes. 10 minutes to go into the bathroom. I mean, let's not make it so that it has to be fancy. We have to be in Bora Bora. Go to the bathroom, shut the door, turn off the lights, take some deep breaths. That's your time. Start small, and you'll build yourself up later. And I say that because of all the things you mentioned. We run things. We're Black women. We run things. It's how we roll. And if we're running things, we don't have time for ourselves, or so we think. But if we can have a calendar and put all these different things in our calendar, why can't we put, okay, from 12 to 12:30, I rest? Why can't we do that? We can do that. And I think that's the number one way. Start small.
Okay. All right. And so I know a lot of people, whether it's small or not, have a problem with that, right? Just like choosing themselves. So when we talk about that, how do we, because you know what else is associated with that guilt, right? When you are choosing yourself, you feel guilty, mom guilt, wife guilt, whatever that is, because you feel like you're off. You should always be on doing the things. So how do you get rid of that guilt?
See, that guilt part, that's the part of we need to get over ourselves. We really, really do. Because we feel that our no's are something really deep and heavy and not good, when in actuality our no's are powerful. And the more we are not spread thin, the more everybody else around us gets a better us. So I think once we get over that part, it's like, you know what, if I'm going to show up as the very best I can for everybody, because we're still going to think about everybody else, can't help that, but if I'm going to show up for everybody in the best way possible, I know I need to take a day. And if we take it, unfortunately I have to say it like this, but if we take it where it will, in the beginning, it will help somebody else, say it. Do it. If you say to yourself, if I take 3 hours to myself today, I can help such and such out tomorrow. If that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. But make sure, find your own balance though. And if you feel that you're a people pleaser and you know who you are, people are like, well, what if they don't know? We all know we're people pleasers. I knew I was a people pleaser. You know, once you get over that part where you're like, I don't need to please these people, they're going to talk about me anyway. If they don't like me, it's because they're not my friends anyway. if this doesn't happen, they didn't respect me anyway. Like, we have to just make sure that we are a little more solid in that for ourselves as well.
When you first started making this shift, especially choosing you, prioritizing yourself, did you feel like you was disappointing people and that you were going to lose people in the process?
So that question goes pretty deep for me because the biggest part of feeling like I'm going to disappoint people was when I was hospitalized. And I'm supposed to have it all together. I'm the wellness guru. I have it all together. I'm great. What I was doing was running away from the depression, running away from the heaviness. And the more you run away from it, the harder it is to fight. So, and I didn't want to disappoint my son, my family, the people who not look up to me, but I give them counsel or whatever. I didn't want to be that person to let them down. It's interesting that I had this whole thing of don't tell anybody about your depression, don't talk about your anxiety, don't talk about these things. And then one day you wind up in a hospital anyway. And I was so embarrassed. And I was like, I'm never telling anybody this, ever. My family knew, of course, but while I was in the hospital, it was like, something's got to get though. And I am thankful for being there. Not an experience I want to ever again, but I am thankful for being there because it did make me stop and think. And when I got out, I told my very close circle, and that was the first place where I saw true friendship, true sisterhood, true realness. So I think if we allow ourselves to open up to the people that bring us joy, and we know who brings us joy.
Yeah.
But if we open up to those people, I think that is, it's powerful, and it's a reminder for you of community, support, love, and it lets you know that you've got that. And if you're like, well, I only got one or two people, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
So, okay, you wrote a book. It's a journal. Like you said, some stuff might be from your personal journal. What chapter felt the most personal for you to write?
The first one. The first chapter is the one about no.
Now, if you haven't read the book, the first chapter is about saying no.
Saying no. That's why I started it with that chapter. I was the queen of yes for everything. And then sometimes my yeses were interesting because I, at one point, was like paying for all my son's stuff. Every lesson you could think of, my kid was doing. And in order to pay for those, I had to say yes to a lot of assignments that I did not want to do at all. And I was worn out. I was happy my kid was getting everything, but I was worn out from trying to pay for this stuff because it's expensive.
Okay.
It's expensive. Sorry, I got caught up in all that stuff.
Okay.
Oh, give me a question again. I got caught up in a
Just
memory.
which chapter was
the
that?
no.
And what you said, the no.
The no.
And so,
So saying yes to all those things when I had no confidence in myself that if I said no, these things would be paid. So I was working from fear. So I think a lot of times when we say no, it is strictly from fear. If the reasons we don't say no is because of fear. And I definitely had to stop that. And me being afraid of not having the money to pay for these things caused me to say yes to things that I should not have said yes to. It's like, but I don't have 6 hours of the day, but I'm gonna do it anyway so I should have been able to have my own sense of self-worth and self-love that I could say, you know what? I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that in order to get some of the things that I need. And my kid didn't need all those things too.
look, and then you realize it, right?
All that stuff.
So what's the balance between selfish and self-care?
And then there's the self-care thing too. So let's see. Difference between selfish and self-care. Selfish is you just do things for you, period. And you never think about how any of your actions are going to affect someone else. That is completely selfish. Self-care. So selfish is always saying no because I just want to chill out, right? Let's just say that. And I'm saying a friend who's like, listen, I really need your help or something like that. Nope, I want to do my nails today. You know, that's selfish. Self-care is that same friend who needs you, and it was a day for you to paint your nails and do for you. But self-care says, you know what? I have a couple of hours for you. I need to get home, but I got a couple of hours for you. That's self-care because you know you care for your friend, you know, and you want to make sure they're okay. Self-care says I can only be there for a little bit of time.
You know something
But we need to go into self-care. Can I go into self-care really quick? Because there's a difference between self-care and maintenance. And a lot of times we think the nails and the hair and the stuff, that's self-care. That's maintenance. Self-care is saying no. Self-care is saying yes to yourself. Self-care is turning off the television. Self-care is not scrolling. So there are different things. Self-care is also making sure you meditate, that you either pray or meditate or do breath work. You know, the Black Panther Party had self-care tips because you can't fight a revolution. You can't do anything if you are not right. So are you going to therapy? Are you making sure that the food you put in your body fuels you? So that's self-care. We need fuel. We need fried chicken every once in a while too. So we need to find that balance, right? We need to find balance. But when I think of self-care, I always go straight back. I always go right back to the Black Panthers and Angela Davis and Elaine Brown. And Elaine Brown was big on yoga. And I teach yoga, I do yoga. And that doing that every day and having a practice that grounds you. Yeah. Because you don't know what's coming at you. So to prepare yourself to go into the world is a very powerful self-care thing. Yeah. So that's why I go by, when I say self-care, that's what I mean. My nails is just maintenance. Yeah. You know, all this that's maintenance.
So I'm a little sister and, you know, I'm a wife. And they both have called me selfish. I've been known to be called selfish. But I was telling Akila, like, a lot of the chapters, I was like, oh, I do that now. I do that now because I do prioritize myself, but not at the expense of other people. Like, I'm definitely a giver, right? But I do feel like I'm able to give because I pour it into me. So I wouldn't be able to pour it into other people if I didn't pour it into me. So I was really reading the book, like, I'm so glad that I'm able to do this and I can talk to other people who tell me sometimes, like, that they feel this way, that they feel burdened and overwhelmed. And I'm like, well, what are you doing for you? It's okay to say no. It's okay to not be there. It's okay to not do the things. And me and my husband deal with this with our kids. My son said today, he said, why you always ask me stuff? Because mom gonna say no. But why do you always feel like you have to say yes? He's going to be okay. If you say no, he's gonna be fine. But he know who to go to. So I definitely love the book because I was like, oh, go ahead, Shante, you do these things.
You doing some of this stuff already.
Even reading, right? You know, sometimes I'm at home. I'm just headphones in. I'm blocking everybody out. I'm reading.
That's self-care.
I'm reading.
That is self-care.
That can wait. Let me finish this. You calling me? I'm in a chapter. Let me finish the chapter, and I'll get to what you're asking because it's not.
And there's that balance.
I'll get to
self-care is balance. Yeah.
All right. So we want to do some little audience engagement. Sure. Okay. So anybody who want to answer? What are some areas in your life where you're learning to choose yourself?
That's for y'all.
Yeah, that's for y'all. And it could be anywhere, even after listening to Lateefah, talk? Is it somewhere you feel like in your life that you're really like, even if you haven't yet, and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna start. This is where I need to start choosing myself.
I'll go. Tifa's my.
It's like a mom sister.
I recently, well, it'll be a year. I retired in May, and it took me a year to calm down and say I'm retired. Self-care. I was still getting up like I was going to work. Gotta get this done, gotta get that done. It took almost a year for me to just concentrate on me. It's okay to go to the gym, come home, have a lunch. It's okay not to do nothing one day. I deserved it. I've been working since I was 16 and a half. So just to do nothing and just calm down, enjoy retirement. Go to the movies, go to the bookstore. So it's hard sometimes to do the self-care.
What moment did you actually have that soul shift? Because you said it took a year, but what do you remember the exact moment that you said, I'm retired. This has to stop.
Well, I told my children I don't babysit.
That's my kind of grandmother.
And my younger son said, Mom, it's okay not to do nothing. It's okay. Don't feel guilty. And I felt guilty. I really felt guilty for not, been working almost 50 years. So it was a shift. It was a shift.
See, that's why they call me selfish. I'm a grandmother, but I'm also young, so I'm outside. So listen, my son is like, I can't never watch the baby because I'm always outside doing something.
And
I'm
should be
okay
happy
with
that
it.
you're out there
This
like
is-
that. You're like, because when my mom does watch,
Right.
that means you can keep up.
Exactly.
You can do all those things.
Yes. So, how do you navigate relationships that no longer align with your growth?
I love that. I'll be honest, my sister's gonna laugh at this one. I had one person who removed herself from my life, and I was holding on. For what reason, I do not know. But I was holding on. I was like, I know why, because she had done some stuff for me, and I was really thankful. But you don't know when someone doesn't serve you sometimes until they're gone. But I will say, I have a thing where I decide if discernment is a powerful thing, let's put it that way. So do you completely cut someone off, or do you do what I do when I put people in their own boxes? Because sometimes you don't need to completely cut someone off, but you do need to stop associating that with them in the way that you've been doing. And that happens. That has happened for me where I have put people in their box. I've shifted the way I respond to them, and the way I communicate with them. When I do that, I'm actually okay with it. Because sometimes you don't really need to. You're like, oh, do I need to say, go completely cold turkey or not? And a lot of times I realize I don't, but I do need to make sure I understand that a person can't be in my life the way they were. Now that I need to show up for myself a certain